Welcome back to SnowRunner and welcome back to the GMC MH9500. Yes, we've repurchased the GMC. Now previously we sold this vehicle so we could afford some mud tyres on our Fleet Star, but I've always said we'd have it back. So for those that don't know, our main plan with SnowRunner is to only sell multiple vehicles if we have two of the same vehicle. We've previously done that with the Chevrolet Scout vehicle as we had a second one. And that's what enabled us to be able to afford the GMC, to be fair. We also said we wouldn't sell a vehicle, we'd keep one of each type and never buy a vehicle. That's our plan. How well that goes, I don't know, as we progress forward, but so far so good. So we sold the GMC a little while back, we got mud tyres on the Fleet Star, but I've always been saying we need the GMC back. Now I hated the GMC when we first used it at the start of the game. It was horrendous. But I think a lot of that was down to the tyres. So the tyres themselves at the start were highway tyres. And this thing, because it doesn't have all-wheel drive, struggles massively in any kind of mud. So we really hated the thing at the start. But I've done some improvements. So we'll talk about the improvements in a second. But first we'll just talk about today's task. So we're looking at timber for the locals. This is our first logging mission we have done in the game. The plan is to get 3 lots of medium logs to the town centre, and then we'll do a couple to the farm. I'm trying to be very conscious of how long the video is, so because of that we're going to skip the return journeys. So what I've done is I've decided not to show the return journey. To be fair, we've already got there once, there's no point showing it again, getting backwards to pick some more logs up, just to help the video progress and to speed things up a little bit. We've had to cut the video down, I think, as well, because we're going to have too much. It's going to take us forever. The GMC is currently struggling to get out of the timber yard. Timber yard? It's not a timber yard, is it? Logging station. It's struggling to get out. Yeah, this is a bit awkward. It was absolutely fine getting here, but now we're struggling to get out. That is a very, I don't know, tippy load, potentially. I thought we'd be fine. I didn't think this would be an issue. It's a little step up, I think, onto the road there that's causing us the issue, to be fair. But, yeah, it doesn't seem to like this. We need to reverse back a little bit to kind of get the turning angle. This isn't going as I'd hoped. There we go. So my original plan for this logging mission, Timber for the Locals, was to have all 3 trucks running. Have the Fleet Star, the Chevrolet Kodiak, and the GMC. And we do 1 load with each per place to go. So all of them will go to town storage, all of them will do the lumber mill, all of those will do the farm. But I encountered an issue, and I didn't know this without looking into it and trying to work out what I could and couldn't use. So compatibility with logs is a thing. So some trucks can't carry certain types of logs. The Fleet Star and the Chevrolet Kodiak can only carry long and short logs, whereas the GMC is compatible with long, medium and short. So we didn't have a choice. We had to buy the GMC because it's the only vehicle we have that has medium logs. So it kind of made me buy it back right now. We always said we would, but it kind of forced me into doing it, and that's a good thing. So it is back. It is going to do all the medium log runs because I've had to change my plan. And then I think we'll just use the Fleet Star for the long logs, mainly because the Kodiak, it lacks in all-wheel drive as well. Has started to struggle a little bit recently, especially in the last mission. It got stuck in the mud in Smithfield Dam. Yeah, I might have changed my mind about how good the Kodiak actually is, but we'll see. I might change my mind. We'll see. Anyway, GMC. So this is the GMC MH9500. According to my rules in terms of buying vehicles, we can buy it back because we sold it. Just in case anyone says, well, you said you won't buy a vehicle, but we sold it. So I needed to bring it back. So when we finish Michigan, we're thinking of only taking 1 truck and 1 Scout to, I think it's Alaska next. And that's it, until we find new vehicles. If you find a new Scout, we send the Scout back to Michigan that we took, and we only use the Scout we found. Same as truck. If you find a truck, our truck that we bring over to Alaska comes back to Michigan and stays in Michigan. That's the plan. We'll see how that goes. When we get to DLCs, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but that's my current plan. I only use vehicles we find in their maps. This may go really badly wrong. It may make it a bit more difficult. I don't know. So GMC, what have we done to it as we brought it back? So we'd already achieved some upgrades for it. So we have put in the Westline V6 2420 engine. So that's an upgraded engine in the GMC as well. It's got the raised suspension, hence why it's probably a little bit bouncy with these logs, although it's coping okay, to be fair. And we have put on it 47-inch off-road UOD free tyres. So that is why this vehicle can now travel on mud. So if you go back to our first videos when we first had the GMC, it was horrendous in the mud. But the mud tyres, or off-road tyres at least, have made a big difference. The off-road tyres are the same tyres we use on the Fleetstar as well. I've kind of made a decision that off-road is better than all-terrain. So originally we was using all-terrain tyres on the Fleetstar for a lot of the stuff we were doing. And then we leveled up and I started looking at off-road tyres. And looking at both what it says, whether how good they are in mud, whether it's good, exceptional, average, that kind of stuff, or bad. It just seemed to me, it kind of seemed that the off-road tyres were better off-road than the all-terrain. The all-terrain are better on-road, but we don't really care about how good they are on-road because the likelihood of us being on a road is very small, or we're not on it for very long. And because of the roads are the surface of the roads, traction isn't that big a deal. We'd rather have the traction and the grip when we're in the mud. So to me, off-road seemed a better option than all-terrain, although we only had all-terrain till we leveled up. Let me know what you think of that. I don't know if it's correct, but that's just the way I've looked at it and kind of worked it out when we've seen all the different things. I don't know the actual numbers because you don't actually get numbered stats, which is a little bit annoying. I'd rather have a number so we can compare a little bit easier. Instead it's just a word. So that's my kind of thinking. It's kind of how I've kind of interpreted it. We haven't unlocked mud tyres yet, not proper mud tyres. I say we've unlocked mud tyres and we've sold the GMC, but they're not proper mud tyres. They were the all-terrain. So mud tyres may change things. I'm not sure, but currently off-road tyres seem to be the way to go as far as I can see. But yeah, do let me know in the comments if you think I should change in the all-terrain maybe better. As long as you can explain why, because as far as I can see, I can't see that. But GMC doing really well so far. We had that little moment at the start where we couldn't quite get out of the log station. I think we'll take a different route out next time. There are 2 ways in and out, or 3 ways if you count the other way to the factory, but we ignore that one. There are 2 ways to where we're going that you can go in and out, so we'll just use those 2. I think that's the plan. But yeah, I think we'll try the other way coming out next time. Just see how we get on. So as I say, today we're aiming to do all 3 journeys to the town storage, and then we'll do a couple of the farm ones. I am very conscious of the length of video, as I say, hence why I'm cutting out the journey back. I've had people say it doesn't matter how long they are, I want to see everything, that's fine, but at the same time, we had the video 2 episodes ago where we were doing winter stores where it was nearly an hour, and that's fine. I'm not a massive fan of that. I think it's too long. If I watch really long videos, more than half an hour, sometimes I have to do it in 2 bits. Just because I've got things to do, I can't sit there for that amount of time and watch something solidly that way through. So yeah, longer videos I tend to watch them in parts, just because it's a little bit easier for me in time and that kind of thing. So and because I do that, I kind of think, well, we've got to be conscious of how long these videos are. There are going to be missions that are going to be an hour long, like Winter Stores was, and that was even split into 2 parts. But yeah, it does mean we're probably going to split this in 2 parts too. I'm just trying to make it so it's more evenly spread, if anything. I'm not a fan of splitting a mission in 2 per se, because in my mind you're then eking out the amount of videos you're doing, and I don't want that. I don't want us to finish SnowRunner and say we've done 1,000 videos, but in that, 200 of those were because we had to do a split episode for missions. I'd rather say, yeah, we've done a mission every episode, job done. But unfortunately, we can't do that. Also, because I record and edit on the PS5 directly, although I can bring it to the laptop and do it that way, I tend to do everything on the actual PlayStation. The PlayStation itself, the Share Factory, will not allow you to do over an hour as a episode when you edit. It can only record for an hour straight as well, so you have to do multiple recordings sometimes. But even in this mission, I didn't do this whole mission in one go. This was something that I decided I would do in parts, just because I couldn't physically sit there and do it all. Okay, the first load is now here, and we have delivered the first load to town storage. Happy with that. So now we're going to skip ahead and jump back to the logging station. And we're back. The GMC made it back. We actually came back the alternate route in, so we're going to leave via that route this time and just see how we do. Obviously the first time leaving was always a tester. We didn't quite know what would work and what wouldn't. So far though, this GMC has completely changed my mind from when we first used it. When we used it at the start of the game, hated the vehicle, really detested it, thought it was horrible, didn't have any power. And yes, it's got some upgrades and the tyres are making a difference, but actually I really like it. It's doing its job the way we wanted it to. I don't know, I've completely changed my mind. It is a little bit tippy, especially with these logs. They are quite high, which could potentially be an issue, but I do enjoy using it. It just seems to work really well. All-wheel drive would be nice, admittedly, but as it stands, we don't have that option. I think there might be an upgrade for it. I'm not entirely sure about going back and checking, but I think there might be an upgrade. We'll have to have a look at that. But as it stands, this is working quite well. Would it work in Blacksmith Dam? I don't know. You know, we thought the Kodiak would do okay, and it did until we got to the one logistics base and got stuck. Okay, this is the other route. So over the little bridge here. This is the hill. I'm a little bit worried about this. Let's see how we do with this. The GMC coming down, it was fine, but going up, that's a lot of weight on us. Remember, no all-wheel drive, so we've only got 2 tyres, I think it is. I think this is front-wheel drive. Or is it rear-wheel drive? Might rear-wheel drive, to be fair. Which means we've got 4 tyres then. It seemed to be okay there. What about this bit? Actually, it's making short work. I thought that would struggle, and it didn't. Okay, GMC is proving us wrong again. But yeah, so I don't know how well this will do in Smithfield Dam. Obviously, Smithfield Dam is a whole different kettle of fish when it comes to surface and where you're going. I think it might do okay now. The change of tyres has made a lot of the difference. The upgraded engine for the more power also made a difference, I think. And that's something we've noticed with the Fleet Star. It lacks power sometimes. I need to actually sit down and look at all the different engines we use in the vehicles and just compare, because obviously I know that, so this one's got the Westline V6 engine in, so it's a V6, that's fine, but I don't know what horsepower is. There's not really enough stats that I can see in game, unless I'm missing something and I need to press something else to see more in-depth stats for each vehicle. I can't see it. I would like to know, you know, how many brake horsepower is it. It does have a power to weight ratio ABC kind of rating as well, but I can't remember what it is for the GMC. I should really look that up. I might try and get it for the next episode, just so we can see the power to weight ratio for the Kodiak, the Fleet Star, and the GMC, because that'd be interesting. I think that the Fleet Star's done us really well, but it's mainly because of the all-wheel drive. I would hazard a guess the GMC might have a better power to weight ratio than the Fleet Star, potentially. Maybe the Kodiak might as well, actually. I'm not too sure. That's something we've got to look at. Like I say, just because I'm curious, but also it does make a big difference when you're hauling a lot of big, heavy loads as well. We've seen the Fleet Star struggle with some really big loads. So because of that, it'd be handy to know, you know, how good it is. I'm interested to see also how the Fleet Star deals with the long logs. I did consider using the Kodiak for long logs as well, but it meant keep changing over the parts. It's quite expensive for the logging trailer. I've had a look at that already because I was trying to see what's compatible with what. So the GMC, this is just the logging back for the medium logs, but for the long logs we need a log carrier back and then a log carrier trailer, I think it is. Is it that? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, but they're quite expensive. I think the trailer's like 13,000. So if I was going to use the Kodiak and the Fleet Star, other than going back to the garage each time and changing the parts over and driving back to the logging station, I would have to buy one each, which isn't ideal, to be fair. So now there is going to be a little transition here. We received a phone call, had to answer it, so apologies for that. I had no choice. Luckily we just got to the petrol station at the time, but yeah, I needed to answer the phone. I hate that when it happens when we're recording. but there's not much I can change, unfortunately. But yeah, so I'm curious to see power to weight ratio, and maybe it would have been interesting to use the Kodiak, because obviously the terrain here in Black River isn't too bad. Where we're heading wouldn't be too bad. So the long logs are only going to the lumber mill. Is it the lumber mill? It is, yeah. I had to check myself. So they're only going to the lumber mill. So that journey is fairly simple. But obviously the GMC's managed it fine. So maybe I should use the Kodiak. I don't know. We'll see. It's currently in Black River, to be fair. Not Black River, Smithfield Dam. I don't know. I think I'm just going to use the Fleet Star. Just save myself time and money. Because, like I say, we'd have to buy extra trailer or keep changing it. It'll take forever. And I can imagine these videos being extremely long anyway, as we're only on our second load as it stands. Doesn't seem like we've done very much, does it? It is a little bit repetitive as well, which is why I was a bit cautious of how long these videos are. Obviously we're repeating the same journey 3 times for each. This is also why originally I planned to change truck every time, just to break it up a little bit, change things up, stop it being just the same truck over and over again. But yeah, I noticed that we couldn't. You know, medium logs can only be carried by the GMC. I haven't looked at other missions in Michigan to see if we need medium logs anywhere else, because if we do, obviously, the only vehicle that we can use for that is the GMC. We're just going to stop and see if we can fix the suspension damage. I kind of caught the suspension on the journey back, and I kind of need to see if we can fix it, just to stop the noise that's coming out of the controller, because it's annoying me. We've got no repair parts left in the Chevrolet. I just thought if it had repair parts in it just here, we could get it fixed, but unfortunately we haven't. So we'll have to put up with the noise. It's a weird noise that comes out of your controller when you've got suspension damage, and wheel damage actually as well. It sounds like something's flicking against something as you're going along. It's really weird. But yeah, so I'm annoyed that I couldn't, but obviously it's going to be interesting to see if Smithfield Dam has medium logs going anywhere, because the only vehicle we've got is this GMC, and depending on the journey and where it's going, we could have an issue. This is where not buying vehicles could potentially put us in the mud, mainly because there are probably better vehicles we could buy right now than we've found. But what can we do? I'm trying to stick to my guns as much as possible here. If obviously it becomes impossible, then well, we've got an issue. Although I don't think it would ever be really impossible, because in theory we could just, if the GMC got stuck, we could go and put it out. It may be time consuming, but it's possible, I suppose. I don't know. We do know there is a truck stuck in the mud somewhere on Smithfield Dam. We've unlocked it. I think it's the Transtar. I think it is. We've seen it. It's something I'm hoping we can pick up and becomes ours. I'm always a little bit unsure whether a vehicle is going to be ours when we pick it up or not. There's several vehicles stuck here as well. I think there's a drowned scout truck and there's a heavy truck. So I'm not sure on those if we keep them or they are being delivered somewhere. It's something we're going to look at when we get to them. I think one of them is a GMC, so that would end up. I don't think we keep that one. I think that's been going to the farm, I think. Which, if it is, it is. I did consider obviously not buying the GMC and rescuing that one instead, thinking it was ours, but I'm pretty sure it's going to the farm. Hence why we have to buy this one. That would have saved us some money. But as I say, we sold the second Chevrolet Scout vehicle. I did check the parts on it, took off any upgrades. I don't think there was any, to be fair. I think it was just standard. So we just sold as is. We still have our Chevrolet, as we've already seen, and the Scout 800's in Smithfield Dam currently. So it's currently preferring the Scout 800, to be fair. I just find it more robust. It's more tippy, but it's more robust, I find anyway. So here we are, our second log to town storage, our second delivery. So far so good. GMC proving that it can do the job. It's not really a difficult journey though, is it? There's not many really areas we can get stuck, bar the logging area itself maybe. So second load delivered, and once again we're going to skip ahead to being back at the logging station, and we're back. Night has drawn in as we made our journey back. There's a little bit of damage now on the GMC. That's my fault. It's the drive back is damaging it. It's really annoying. We're stuck. That's the first time I kind of got stuck there. We're okay. We got out. Yeah, night time has come, and we're on the third of 3 for the town storage. Hopefully, we can get this done really nicely, and that's the job done. I think the farm is a lot closer, so I don't think the farm's going to take as long. I think. We'll see. I think so. Roughly every journey to the town storage is taking about 10 minutes in the GMC. So half an hour just for the town storage alone, which is a long time, and that's not including going back. You know, that's 20 minutes a journey if we look at it that way. That's an hour if you include the return journeys as well. That says something how long this, and that's only one part of 3 parts to this logging mission. So I'm curious to see how long the farm actually does take, to be fair. Hopefully nowhere near as long as town storage. And lumber mill, I think that's going to take a bit of time, maybe around 10 minutes as well, each way, potentially. That's my guess at this point. But yeah, as I say, I think the fleet star's doing okay. We're stuck on the hill again. We've been doing okay with this hill. It's managed it in the end. It does slowly get there. So you can see that the weight of the medium logs is putting a bit of a strain when you're going up hills like that. I don't think it's a grip issue. I think it is more of a weight issue and power to weight ratio. But after you got past that hill, everything else is fine. It doesn't seem to skip a beat so far in everything we've thrown at it for this journey. Now I'm curious to see how the Fleet Star does when it does its long logs. And again, I did consider using GMC for the long logs because it is compatible. It's compatible with all 3 types. But I thought, no, we're probably going to be fed up of driving it. We're going to be fed up of driving it by the time we get to the long logs. After doing 6 loads with it. If we could have swapped truck every time, probably then I would have done. But nothing we can do. I think I mentioned in the last video as well about me and drowsiness. So one of the reasons also I break up my recording of SnowRunner. So this I'm splitting. I think this is my 3rd sit down to do it. I had to stop after each run, mainly because the morphine or the painkillers are on does make me extremely drowsy. It also means we're not sleeping at night because of the pain. So if you see me suddenly veer off, it's generally because I've started to fall asleep while playing. This isn't the only game it's happening to. I think I did explain this in the last episode. This isn't the only game it's affecting, but it's probably more recognisable here because obviously you need to be more attuned to the road, the conditions, and if I suddenly veer off somewhere when I shouldn't, it's not me being extremely bad. Some of it may be, but it is also the drowsiness kicking in. We have it in the live stream as well, but I think I'm hiding it pretty well. It's mainly cutscenes that I have an issue with in any of the live streams, because that's the bit where I'm not doing anything as such. I'm not pressing anything, am I? A bit too much speed there, and it went into the trees and the pole. So yeah, it is causing an issue. As I say, with the other games as well, it has been causing issues, but I'm trying to keep under control. I'm drinking a lot of Lucozade, and just trying to focus on what I'm doing. All I can do is apologise for sometimes my driving and how I am in other games. There's some of the reasons I don't talk in some of the other games as well. Like we don't talk in the Far Cry games over gunfire and stuff. I've also stopped. Don't talk as much now as I used to when we're going exploring somewhere, and that is just because I may not stay awake whilst trying to talk through it. So it's a difficult one. This is hence why I've added music in on times with SnowRunner as well, just because I can't physically maintain being awake enough to talk. It's one of those weird ones. I think the Winter Stores mission, the first episode of that, I don't remember half the journey. I have no recollection because I was half asleep during it. It was incredible. I managed to get there okay. I don't know how. I know we got stuck quite a few times. I managed to get out of that and then finally got stuck at the end. But yeah, I don't remember it at all. I was basically asleep for the whole thing, or at least in a state of sleep, shall we say. Yeah, really weird. Nothing I can do. I need the morphine. It's just The problem is the morphing also isn't enough. It's not doing enough difference to the pain. We need to up it. We're still waiting for a point with a pain team. They can then authorise the doctors to up the morphine dosage, but the risk of that is it's going to make me more drowsy, and then we're going to have a bigger issue. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that just yet. That's something I can only deal with when we come to it. I'm hoping it doesn't. I don't react in that way, but because I know how I'm reacting now. But there's nothing else other than morphine to have. There's nothing else that's going to touch the pain. So we're kind of in a no-win situation. I always said it after the accident, and when we started doing YouTube, I didn't want morphine. I didn't want to feel out of it. I didn't want to be drowsy. I didn't want to be, you know, not me, not with it, not coherent. And the dosage now is okay. Obviously the drowsiness is bad, but any further dosage going up could make things a lot worse. I've known people that are on a lot of morphine for pain and stuff, and they're just not coherent at all. They spend their days near enough comatose, which is not what I want to be. Hence why I didn't really want to go on morphine, but we've kind of had no choice. So yeah, it's not really an apology or making excuses for being bad at things. I just want to be honest with you guys and just explain, look, I shouldn't be this bad, but there is a caveat. But it is what it is. There's not much I can do, is there? So it is what it is. But yeah, massive thank you to you guys for your support through that. It's one of those things that I just can't do without, but don't want at the same time at the minute. But yeah, GMC, as I say, I'm going to babble because we've done. This is the third journey now to town storage in the GMC with these medium logs, and as I say, it's doing really well. It's definitely changed my mind considering how it was at the start. But yeah, really pleased. Looking forward to seeing what else it can do for us going forward in Michigan. We've got quite a bit still to do. We've still got a few things to finish off in Black River. That's something I might look at next. And see if we can finish off the remaining missions in Black River before heading back to Smithfield Dam. Because their vehicles are now over in Black River after the last episode where we finished off over here. Which kind of gave us the emphasis to do this mission. So yeah, I think we're going to look at clearing Black River the next couple of episodes, get the final things done, then back to Smithfield Dam. Got to decide whether we're doing all the tasks and missions before we do the main story missions or the big company missions. I don't know if you have. Would you call them main story or they're just company missions? Not sure. I'll get back into that in a second, but we're here. It is the third of 3 deliveries to town storage with the medium logs in the GMC, and that is that part of the mission done. We're going to now head back to the logging station, and here we are. So now we need to take 3 loads to the farm. We won't get this done today. We'll get a couple, I think, looking at length of time played and video and stuff. So this should be a shorter journey. I just need to mark up exactly where the turnoff is. So obviously we go to the petrol station, and there's a little turning there, and we can come in the top part of the farm. I'm not sure how good that road is coming in from the petrol station though, so that's something we'll be aware of. We know the farm can be a bit tricky at times. It's one of the places the GMC struggled with at the start of the game, so I'm curious to see if we have a better time now in the all new and improved GMC. And also we know it is 10 minutes roughly a run to town storage. How long is the run to the farm? I'm hoping not as long as 10 minutes. So far we're an hour in real time for the town storage alone. So I'm curious to see how long this takes us in total. Obviously editing out the return journeys does make a massive difference, to be fair. But off we go. We'll go out the way we came in, which is this little hill followed by a secondary hill and a little bridge, and I think we've got a third hill after that as well. But GMC, it does struggle at them, but it makes it. That's the thing. It does have a little bit of an issue, but it slowly gets there, which I think, as I say, is the power to weight ratio pushing it really more than anything else. But yeah, we were talking about missions. So Black River, we're probably going to finish off the remaining tasks and stuff in the next couple of episodes. There is the competitions to do. Now we will do those before we leave, but I'm going to leave those to absolute last. I want to have everything else done in Michigan as a whole, all 4 maps, and then we do the competitions. Mainly because I think you're going to need your vehicles upgraded to the max, or as much as you can, at that moment to see how they work. I'm not a massive fan of timed challenges. You guys know who know me in the channel. Challenges and me don't mix. I struggle massively with challenges, so I'm hoping it's something we can manage, but we'll see how we go. I would like to say we've done them all though before we move on, but we'll see how they go. If I found the first one like 4 times, then it might be a no. We'll see, but that is the plan as it stands. But yeah, Smithfield Dam, I don't know what we're going to do. Do we focus on the tasks and them kind of missions and do all those before we look at the main story? So main story to me is the company missions. There's 3 different companies in Michigan that I can't remember the names offhand, but they have their missions. This is one of their missions, for the locals in fact. More damage. Didn't mean to do that. Yeah, Timber for the Locals is one of their missions as well. I think it's their last mission here that I know of currently in Black River, to be fair. So some of them are locked behind you doing other things. But I don't know whether to focus on those first and foremost, then do tasks, or do tasks first, then go back and do those for each area. Obviously, I don't want to go on to the new areas around Smithfield Dam. There's 2 more maps to Michigan, 2 more places for us to visit. I don't want to go to them until we are done with Smithfield Dam as a whole. You know, we need the majority of stuff in Smithfield Dam done before we move on to anywhere else. That is a slight mistake there. Bit of engine damage. I just didn't look how close we were to the bridge. My fault there. Can't blame that on anything else. Yeah, so I don't know whether tasks should be the first thing to focus on, followed by the main missions or main jobs, or we should just do in tandem, whatever works out, whatever's nearby. Because I do try and add things in where possible, so we do more than one job an episode if possible, like we did with the winter stores, although that probably backfired a little bit on me more than I hoped. In terms of that concrete slab, made things a lot harder for us than it could have been for winter stores, but we've got it done. But yeah, we don't have a massive amount of tasks, I don't think, still in Black River. I think there's a couple of vehicles we've got to look at, and I think that's about it. I don't know. Well, I'll have a proper look and decide. But yeah, like I say, Smithfield Dam, that's the one I'm not sure what to do. Tasks or main company missions. I'm guessing they are the main story missions, aren't they? Essentially, the companies. I think they are pushing us to go to the other 2 maps as well, with their missions currently after Timber for the Locals. Well, I don't know. We'll work it out. So this is the route we haven't done as until now. So this is heading to the farm. This is the turn off from the petrol station. So I was a bit concerned about this. I don't quite know how this is going to go. Obviously, GMC is the vehicle we're in, and actually, not too bad. Braking a little bit there as we go down the hill. That wasn't too bad. I was really thinking that was going to be a lot worse than it was, to be fair. That wasn't too bad at all. I don't want to speak too soon. We know the farm can be quite muddy. Stick on the grass where we can here, I think. If we head to the left of the tree, I think that might be the better ground. I don't want to get stuck on the tree though. No, push the branch. There we go. Right, this will be our first load to the farm, and we are nearly halfway through this mission. There we go. Timber for the Locals. Load number 1 for the farm done. Let's head back to the logging station and pick up our second load. Second load for the farm. Final load for today, I think. Looking at how long I've been recording for and stuff, I think this will be the last one, to be honest. So that roughly took about 6 minutes, 6-7 minutes from logging station to the farm with the GMC. So a little bit shorter than the town storage, which is good. What we wanted. So this one shouldn't take us too long, to be fair. So it's roughly 12 to 14 minutes for there and back. So we're up now at an hour and 20 minutes, just under roughly, for the whole mission so far. So I'm going to put the marker on for that turn off again, just because I will forget where it is if I'm not careful. I'd rather know and be in the right place than not. So yeah, that's what? Something's wrong. How have we done that? We've beached ourselves on a piece of wood. There's a stump here, and I think it's underneath us. That's not good. Can okay, I can winch to the side. I think I can winch the logs, the actual stumps that are there. It's right underneath us. I think it's where the back goes on. I think it's past the front wheels, a little bit behind the cab potentially. I think is where it's stuck. Lifting the front wheels off the ground, which is fine because it's a rear-wheel drive. We now know that because they're spinning. The front aren't. But I kind of need to figure a way off this. The back wheels are touching the floor, I think, but it's not really helping. I need to pull us off here. Need to try and swing us off, maybe, potentially. How else can we get this around from underneath us? This is going to make our average time to the farm horrendous compared to what it was. Come on. Ah, we're spinning, we're spinning. Can we just get it off? There we go. That is the stump in question. I don't know how the front wheel was allowed it to go under. It's because we're raised suspension, isn't it? I suppose if the suspension was low and it wasn't raised, we would have hit the stump rather than gone over the front of it. There's a downside to raised suspension. I think the raised suspension, we've spoken about this before, and I've been speaking to Shoot the Game about it as well. Raised suspension makes a big difference in really muddy areas because you're above the mud. It means you're not digging into it as much. But things like that are one of those things you don't think about until it happens. That could be a downside to a raised suspension, that you allow things to go underneath you. But if there's any part of the vehicle that's lower, further back, that's going to get caught. But we're going to have it. It took us a few minutes, but we did. Now off to the farm for the second load of 3. As I say, it's gone well so far. I'm impressed with how the GMC coped with the farm. That was the second thing I was worried about when it came to this logging mission. I've been worrying about all of it. I don't know why I've been worrying. Logging to me seemed a bit tedious with repeat journeys to the same place, but also on top of that, it seemed, I don't know, I just felt like I was underprepared. And now we're doing it. Actually, it's easy. Yes, it's repetitive. Yes, it's a bit tedious, but it's not been too bad. And I've got to put a lot of that down to the GMC and how it's dealt with it, I think, more than anything else. It has shown that it is a capable vehicle. Just wish I had all-wheel drive. But that's my wish for every vehicle, to be fair. I wish they all had it, because it would make life so much easier. I'm curious to see if the Transstar does, when we get that out on Smithfield Dam. That's if we keep it. I think it's one of the vehicles we keep. I was surprised we got the second Chevrolet and kept that, to be fair. I thought that'd be a delivery somewhere. We are seeing the vehicles we're using here as well, quite a bit. Like we've already fixed, was that a GMC we fixed on Smithfield Dam for one of the missions? I think it was a GMC. I know we've got to get a Kodiak somewhere as well, probably to the Fisherman potentially. So we've seen the trucks we use in situations for missions where we've got to rescue them and bring them back. So it's interesting that it's kind of pushing us to use these vehicles for as long as possible. I'm assuming when we move on to Alaska, it's going to be a different kettle of fish. I think maybe it will be new trucks, but they're going to be different. But we'll see what happens. Like I say, our plan is, when we do move on to Alaska, is to only take one scout, one truck, and that's it. When we find a scout, our scout is immediately returned to Michigan and we use the new scout. That will probably make things pretty tricky for us. Because at the minute, I'd say the favourite vehicle to go to Alaska for us is the Fleetstar. Because we've got to look at what's going to work best there. And unless there's an all-wheel drive upgrade for the GMC or the Kodiak in Michigan, the best vehicle currently is the Fleetstar. Although we may have an issue for medium if there's logging there. That could be an issue. If obviously we can't do a mission because we don't have a vehicle that can do it that's compatible, like the medium logs, we'll have to bring it across. It will go back once it's done. But yeah, I think the favourite vehicle so far to go to Alaska will be the Fleetstar, as it stands. Obviously we still could find vehicles and change our mind yet. But once we find another truck there, we'll have to swap. The downside to that is if the truck we find has no upgrades, no all-wheel drive, no diff lock or anything like that, that potentially could make things really tricky. But we won't know that until we go there. So it'll be an interesting one. But yeah, that's kind of my mini challenge to myself. I know I said I'm not a fan of challenges. I'm not very good at challenges. I hate time challenges especially. But I don't also want to make the game too easy. I know, obviously, things like this, if you get a truck that is the best truck in the game, then life's going to be too easy. We just use the same truck all the time, get bored, and it'll be like, I don't want to do this anymore. Because I know there are OP trucks out there. I've heard people talk about them. And yeah, we could go to Alaska and get a few of the upgrades and stuff that we need for our vehicles if there are some there already, and then come back and carry on. But I kind of don't see the point in that. I'd rather use what we've got. I don't know how that's going to work. So say we're in Alaska and we find a second GMC there. Our GMC will stay is still in Michigan. We find a second GMC in Alaska. Do we keep it or sell it as a multiple? I'm not sure on that. It might be a fact we have to keep it because it's there. I don't know. That's something to think about. Just crossed my mind, and I'm not too sure how I'm going to play that one just yet. Let me know in the comments what you think. You know, what way should we do it? I suppose in a way we should keep it because it's new for that area, and then we just take the upgrades off the old one and put it on that one. Potentially, don't know. But we're here at the farm for our second of 3 loads for medium logs in the GMC. And this is where we're going to call it a day for today's episode, mainly because I don't want to make the episodes too long, as I said at the start. But that is roughly an hour and 40 minutes, or just under an hour, about an hour and 30 minutes, an hour and 35 minutes recording time, condensed down to 41 minutes so far. A massive thank you to you guys for watching today. Join us next time as we finish off Timber for the Locals.